A dark abyss wave made from mana covered the town. Inside, monsters were created from the realm known as the Void. The deeper the realm, the stronger the monster that is summoned. Today is the day the protagonist's town was destroyed. A city is lit on fire, with the perpetrators attacking anyone that moves. These bug-like creatures are destroying everything and everyone. An old man put his armor on, wielding his axe again, as he previously didn't believe he'd have to go to battle again. In a bunker, the grandfather hides his staff and his grandson Noel. Noel yells at his grandfather to stop as he's going to die. The old man tells him not to disrespect his legacy, trying to show the young man courage in the face of danger. Like a true hero, the grandfather managed to hold back the demonic army with the smoke from the fire turning to ash. But when he called out for the old man, he screamed. Noel spotted the old man with him being nothing more than a stump, having lost most of his limbs. In the old man's last words, he's able to inspire his grandson to follow his dream to become a seeker and to become strong. There crying, Noel promises to become the ultimate seeker. 2 years later, Noel is a sharp-aged young man with one goal: to become the world's strongest seeker. But he ends up stuck with the weakest support class, the Talker. He directs his friends to put them in the perfect position. Noel's friend Walter looks at the main offspring. Noel reminds them not to take them easy as he cuts the head. Just then, one of the fallen monsters goes to attack Noel, but it's stopped by the healer Tanya Clark. With her finishing his sentence, they need to lop off the heads so they can't regenerate. Walters is confused, asking why they don't go straight for the queen as it's more efficient. But Noel advises against it. He reminds them that as a C-ranked team, they should focus on thinning out the spawns first, giving them a better shot at victory, reminding him not to go out, always searching for efficiency, as he'd die. Walters backs down as Noel is their leader, not wanting to go against Blue Beyond's rules. Tanya tells him to stop, but Walters reveals it's all thanks to Noel's silver tongue they were able to get this B-rank mission. His teammates know just how crucial Noel is because of the buffs he has on his words, but it's because of this that he's ridiculed as the weakest. Unlike the rest of them, he's entirely dependent on a team. As he's about to defend himself against Walter's words, the party is attacked. Noel is able to sense the nearby threat and tells everyone to take cover. The vampire queen strikes from the shadows, releasing a deadly poison gas that spreads in an instant, throwing the team into chaos. Lloyd and Walter immediately realize they need to save Noel first. They know without his buffs, they're doomed. Tanya then rushes to help, but amidst the confusion, she's hit by the queen. And now, without Noel, Lloyd and Walter are struggling to fight back. They're painfully aware that without his support, they can't win this fight. The team, desperate and on the verge of panic, begs Noel to give them orders, reminding him that he's the Talker. Anger flares up in Noel as he snaps back, telling them not to look down on him. In one swift move, he pulls out his weapon, ready to show them just what a Talker can do. He activates his tactician skill, boosting the entire party's abilities by 25%. Just by giving commands, Noel then calls out to his brain-dead teammates, telling them to dodge an incoming attack. He then uses his battle voice, instantly increasing the recovery rate of their stamina and mana. Noel orders Tanya to cast a barrier around the two warriors, prepping them to obliterate the beast, but things quickly spiral when more monsters show up as Tanya starts to panic. Noel uses his peer support skills to calm her down, stabilizing her frantic mind. With a cool head, he sets a timer for 74 seconds and declares he'll handle the small fry while the others focus on the main body. He's able to stun small fry with just his voice, called Stunned Howl. Noel keeps barking out orders, guiding every single move with surgical precision, telling them to prepare their strongest attack. After stunning all the small fry, Noel whips out this magic gun, the only beast weapon a Talker like him can rely on. A fire's bullet freezing the demons in place, but one breaks free now. Right before the beast lunges at him and his teammates finally unleash their attack. Landing the final blow, Tanya is about to celebrate, but to her, she's horrified when she sees Noel get hit. But Noel, ever the tactician, had it all planned out. His timing was flawless. He dodged the attack just enough while factoring in that the spawns would lose their power once the queen was defeated. The battle ends exactly as he predicted, with the mission wrapped up in 74 seconds flat, making him impressed by his own brain, laughing. But his teammates tease him for cutting it way too close with his risky timing. Noel's mind drifts to a memory of his grandfather. As a child, Noel had been frustrated about being a talker in class, wishing he could be a warrior like his grandfather, but his grandfather ever reassuring promised him that his talent would eventually shine through, and that he would help Noel become the strongest seeker no matter his class. Back in the present, Noel silently reaffirms his goal to surpass his legendary grandfather, even as a talker, the role so many consider the weakest. He begins explaining how Atrai, the capital of the Velnant Empire, thrives on the synergy of magic engineering and technology, both derived from research on the beasts they fight. The city depends on seekers to protect it from the abyss, and for that, they are revered as heroes. Later, the team goes to a dinner to celebrate. Noel reflects on how he was able to become a seeker at 15 years old. He began searching for companions in Atrai, knowing that as a talker, you couldn't fight alone. Walter is a prideful warrior, bragging about how he just made 5 million as a reward. Tanya and Lloyd discuss setting their sights even higher, with Lloyd being the real leader and Tanya the healer. Noel can't help but think their party would be better if they had a scout, but decides it's fine as he gets to gain experience. While noticing his face, Walter picks a fight with him, asking if Noel is upset about the reward money, teasing him. Walter suggests that Noel cares too much about money, saying that a seeker should have a big heart and not get caught up in greed. Walter's words stir another memory as he mentions Noel's grandfather for comparison. In a past memory, his grandfather said not to prioritize money out of greed. In the present, Tanya calls Walter's pathetic for always bringing this up, but Walter defends his comments as he's worried people will start thinking their party is greedy because of Noel. The two arguments get the attention of all the other seekers who are looking to watch a fight. Walter keeps badgering him. This ignites a heated back and forth with Noel jabbing at Walter for always using his age as a badge of authority. After all, for a seeker, skill is what counts. So Noel mocks Walter for leaning on his age to push others around. Walter then fires back, accusing Noel of hanging back in fights like a coward. Walter says he has a problem with Noel always staying in the back while the rest of them fight for their lives. Noel grins as he finally gets to hear what Walter's always felt about him. The rest of his teammates all being guilty of feeling the same way as they all turn away. Noel continues his rant, causing Walter to grab him, threatening to harm him. This is when Lloyd steps in to remind them they're in public, making them all look like fools. The group leaves to split up the reward money, where Lloyd shows them that all they have left is 250,000 fil each, as they need to pay the clan fee. Tanya is less than thrilled with the payout, thinking it's peanuts for the work they put in. Lloyd tries to ease her concerns, saying tough missions like this have come around often, and they'll rake in more on the next one. But Noel chimes in, pointing out that unlike the official clans, they don't get missions straight from the country, which cuts into their chances and cash flow. He reminds them that independent seekers like them don't get these opportunities often, and it's way harder without clan backing. With clans able to purchase the rights to big missions and give them out to small ones like them, the big clans gain most of the profit. Asking just how many assets the party has, Lloyd then gives the team an update on their total savings, which adds up to just over 12.8 million, without a second thought. Noel jumps in and proposes using that cash to form their own clan. Lloyd, ever the cautious one, warns Noel that starting a clan means coughing up 20 million to the country, which is way more than what they've got. But Noel, full of confidence, says he's ready to drop the remaining 7.2 million to cover them, saying it's better to just become a clan rather than survive off the scraps others give them. Lloyd harps on about the crazy cost of renting a base in the capital, but Noel says he's already got a lead on a cheap spot. Lloyd has serious doubts about whether they can handle running a clan, as does Tanya, reminding them they're all rookies still. As a C-rank team, he's sure they're not ready for that kind of responsibility, but Noel's not having it, as he questions them on when will they be ready, asking how many years like this will they be willing to suffer to build confidence, as he himself had spent years learning as much as he can to become a seeker, with him knowing the structures of clans from a young age. Lloyd still doesn't think they'd get the support of the government, but Noel points at him as he's completely wrong. He's young and good-looking. In this era, citizens want people to aspire to become. Not to mention the marketing of having attractive heroes, as being attractive means a lot. Youth, looks, skill, charisma. Most of the top clans have members who fit this category that are advertised to the people. Not to let Walters feel left out, he says there are people he appeals to as well. Tanya still doesn't want to sell her image in such a way, but Walter is tired of this argument, agreeing that he's tired of scraping by his secondhand jobs. He agrees with a plan to form a clan, admitting that status, fame, and money sound pretty tempting. With this, he'd land a babe, asking Tanya if she'll be his, if he sides with her, knowing the answer. Lloyd yells at Walter to back off, as that's his girl, but this proves the point. Noel gives the two an ultimatum. Either they join to form a clan, or give him the assets he's collected as he'd leave the party. This proving to be a life-changing decision for the two, as they know how good Noel is. He reminds them of his dream the day he joined. He plans to be the best, even surpassing his legendary grandfather, and won't settle for people too scared to go after their desires. After some thinking, Lloyd agrees to accept the terms. Tanya is shocked, but Lloyd admits they'd have to do this eventually, but says they should meet up for this at his place tomorrow when they've sobered up. As everyone heads out, Tanya pauses, seemingly wanting to say something to Noel, but all she ends up saying is a quiet goodbye. The next day, Walter rushes to Noel's apartment in a panic, claiming that Lloyd and Tanya have betrayed them, showing that the two took all the money and left town. Takes a look at the letter and is sure now that this is Lloyd's handwriting. Quickly piecing it together, it turns out Lloyd sank all this money into bad investments a couple of years ago, and now he's drowning in debt. To dig himself out of that hole, he embezzled the party's funds and skipped town before anyone could catch on. Noel finds the whole thing ridiculously amusing because Lloyd, the guy who always acted so noble and chivalrous, pulled off the slimiest move possible. Walter doesn't find it funny. Apparently, Walter came by Lloyd's place earlier because of a good mission he figured the team could do, wanting to act before another team. But when he got to Lloyd's place, the owner gave him this note. Lloyd and Tanya left the inn around 8 p.m. the previous night, just before the city gates closed. Under normal circumstances, neither Noel nor Walter would have known about this until later in the day, meaning Lloyd was trying to buy as much time as possible before anyone noticed he was gone. Luckily, they found out. Lloyd and Tanya must have put some serious distance between them and the capital by now. Still, the city gates should have records showing which way they went, and since they most likely left on foot, since a horse leaves a paper trail, the two can catch up to them after talking to the authorities. Walter grabs his gear, ready to go, but Noel stops him, wanting to know what he plans to do. Hearing Walter's ridiculous plan to just find Lloyd and smack him a few times before laughing it all off, Noel finds it stupid. Noel grabs him and reminds him that they betrayed them and ran away. This isn't some little game where they can just talk it out. No, worst case, they catch them, fight, and kill them. Shocking his friend, he asks if he's ready to fight Lloyd. Walter has no problem with that, but then Noel asks if he can fight Tanya, and Walter falters. Even if they manage to beat Lloyd and Tanya, the money's already gone, but Noel doesn't care about the money. No, he's not about to let them get away without paying for what they did, as his motto is to repay betrayal 1,000-fold. After getting dressed, Noel drags Walter down to the local tavern. Walter, confused as ever, doesn't understand why they're even there, but Noel knows it's pointless to explain everything to Walter because he likely wouldn't get it anyway. So he just tells him he's a great warrior but not a thinker, so he should leave all the intelligence work to Noel. Noel walks in, and with no hesitation or tact, yells out to everyone, announcing that 2 members of their party stole and embezzled their money. He adds that he is willing to reward 2 million fills for the capture of the 2. Walter yells at him, not understanding why he did this. Noel says it's better to throw out a large net so they catch something, as it would still be difficult to rely on just the 2 of them. The first group to accept the mission is the Lightning Bite Party. So Noel gives their leader all the details he has on Lloyd and Tanya's escape. Soon enough, several other parties jump on the offer as well, but Noel still hasn't found the person he's looking for. Then a shady-looking old man with a pilot's hat approaches Noel about the job. Immediately, Noel can tell this guy has some useful information, the exact type of person he was waiting for. They step outside to talk, and the man explains he saw a couple leave town yesterday who perfectly matched the descriptions of Lloyd and Tanya. He claims to know exactly where they're headed, but the problem is that his party isn't strong enough to take them down alone. Sensing an opportunity, Noel offers him 1 million fills in exchange for his help. The man tries to argue for the full 2 million, but Noel's already read him like an open book. He knows the guy is too broke to walk away from 1 million fills, something he can tell based on the man's appearance. Eventually, the man gives in and agrees to the deal with instructions to wait at the south gate for them. With everything settled, Noel tells Walter to wait for him there, as Noel has something he needs to take care of first. A little while later, Noel finishes his preparations and heads to the front gate to meet everyone. Walter clearly isn't happy, so he pulls him aside to ask something that's been bothering him. He wants to know if Noel's really okay with fighting Lloyd and Tanya, but Noel, without hesitation, says he has no problem with this, no mercy and no second thoughts. Walter can't believe how cold Noel is after everything they've been through together as partners, but Noel reveals that from the very day they met, he had already devised contingency plans to take them down if they ever crossed him, full-on Batman style. In fact, he even has a plan for Walter. Walter can't believe that Noel never truly trusted any of them. Noel tells Walter that humans are terrible creatures and that the man is much too soft. Asking if he'd like to stay back, Walter agrees to go, and the two leave. Noel did this out of mercy, as what's about to happen might scar him. Later that day, in a remote village, Lloyd and Tanya are walking, and Lloyd assures her they should be safe for now, confident they can rest easy tonight and keep moving in the morning. In his mind, there's no way Noel would be petty enough to chase them down, especially since the money's already gone. But Lloyd seriously underestimates just how petty Noel Stolen can be. The two hear the cheerful voice of Noel. Out of nowhere, Stolen appears behind them, flanked by a full squad of bounty hunters cutting off all exits, ready to capture them. Lloyd, out of panic, reaches for his sword, but before he can move, Noel yells at them not to move. His ability freezes Lloyd and Tanya in place. In a graveyard, Walter grabs Lloyd, asking why he betrayed them. But before Walter can punch him, he's stopped by Noel, who wants to know what Lloyd did with the recent cash from the Vampire Queen. Lloyd admits to already spending it on an investment, but Noel now knows the truth. His former leader is a chronic gambler. As Lloyd is about to apologize, Walter yells in his face, not wanting to hear it, as they risk their lives to feed his addiction. Lloyd yells back at them, claiming they have no idea how hard it is to be the leader and bear all the burdens. Before he can finish his entitled rant, Noel kicks him in the face and stomps on him, asserting their right to beat him for his betrayal. Noel reminds Lloyd that he wanted to be the leader in the first place, even though he should have known he wasn't fit for it. Noel continues to stomp on Lloyd's body, with Lloyd begging for help, but Walter looks away. Noel tells him he'll give mercy after another 1,000 kicks. Tanya cries out for him to stop beating up Lloyd, but she must not know Noel does not discriminate. In fact, she's next, as he will not hold back. He knows she was in on it from the start, gambling with Lloyd. Using his confession skill, the girl admits to dipping into the party's funds. Once she regains control of her mind, she yells at Noel, accusing him of committing a crime since mind control skills are illegal for personal gain. Noel admits it's true, but reminds her she's a criminal who embezzled party funds. The government authorized him to use the skill to prove her crime, meaning she's done for. Noel claps for them, emphasizing that embezzlement is punishable by up to 10 years of hard labor. Good job, he sneers, as these two idiots can now spend the rest of their lives together. The man who helped him capture Lloyd and Tanya demands his payment immediately, but Noel tells him to wait until they get back to town to drop them off. The man, impatient, grabs Noel and accuses him of trying to scam them out of their money. Noel tells him to pipe down and wait. When the man draws a knife and moves to attack, Noel, intolerant of threats, knocks him unconscious with a precise punch to the chest. Noel learned this technique from his grandfather the hard way, by being on the receiving end of it. It's a precise strike above the heart that temporarily paralyzes the heart muscles, causing even experienced fighters to faint. His grandfather ensured Noel mastered the move, knowing that as a talker class, Noel needed to compensate for his lack of combat buffs. The man's teammates drag his unconscious body out of the way, unwilling to fight. A fancy carriage rolls up just in time. The man who steps out is none other than Finocchio Barzini, an infamous slave trader. Noel is acquainted with the biggest mafia group in the imperial capital. Barzini, a lieutenant of the Luciano family and boss of their subfamily crime force, is known for his two-faced personality, earning him the nickname the Mad Clown. Walter begins to grasp Noel's plan, but Noel finishes for him. These two gamblers are dead broke, so to recover the money they lost, he's selling them to the Finocchio family to be servants. The two are shocked, with Tanya protesting against being sold off. Noel reminds her that the alternative is far worse, being handed over to the police. Jail time in the city means being sent to the mines, a fate far worse than slavery. With a survival rate of just 2% after 10 years of hard labor, Tanya's odds of making it out alive are practically non-existent. Becoming a slave, on the other hand, offers a much better chance of survival. Maybe, just maybe, they'll get lucky and end up with a kind master, Noel remarks. The mad clown nods and appraises their worth, offering 6 million, but Noel insists the price is much too low. He apologizes, explaining it's bad timing as he can't offer more. The Holy Cross Church is about to impose a decree that everyone must take a vow of poverty, and if they find out he offered top dollar for Lloyd and Tanya, it would draw too much attention, something he'd rather avoid. Noel was surprised by the church's influence over a family as powerful as the Finocchio. He shrugs it off and says he will take the 11 million. It takes Finocchio a second to process the counteroffer, but when he does, he erupts, accusing Noel of trying to swindle him out of an extra 5 million. Annoyed by the constant yelling, Noel casually bumps the price up again and again until eventually he's asking for 15 million, well above Finocchio's original 6 million offer. Finocchio, visibly frustrated, is on the verge of losing it, but Noel leans in with a clever deal. If Finocchio buys the two for 15 million, Noel promises to tell everyone that Finocchio paid 30 million instead. The church's decree only restricts overpriced purchases. But if Finocchio spreads the word that Lloyd and Tanya are worth every penny, people will flock to buy them simply because of their inflated value. Played right, Finocchio could easily resell them for as high as 90 million. Impressed by Noel's cunning, Finocchio even offers him a leadership role in his family, but Noel unsurprisingly turns it down. Finocchio understands and agrees to the deal, but before sealing it, he makes his way over to the scruffy guy in his party, issuing a cold warning. If they breathe a word of this, they'll face painful deaths. With that said, Finocchio hands Noel a down payment for the 2 slaves and begins taking Lloyd and Tanya away. Tanya then desperately pleads with Noel not to go through with this as they're friends, right? But once again, she's met with the cold reality that forgiveness isn't in his vocabulary. Once a traitor, always a traitor. She panically turns to Walter, knowing full well that he has a crush on her, but Walter, despite her plea, refuses. Tanya then furiously unleashes a barrage of insults, ripping him apart as a loser who will never get a woman with the size of his package. Even the mob boss is surprised by the mouth on the woman, who apparently prefers men. With the 2 traitors left to their fate, Noel hands over the promised 1 million fills to the shady man and turns to leave with Walter. But just as he walks away, the man calls out, branding Noel as the devil. Noel doesn't feel insulted, he takes pride in it as a seeker. The next morning, Walter is ready to leave the town and his identity as a seeker behind him. Yesterday destroyed him. Seeing a person he trusted and the girl of his dreams turn on him in a split moment was too much to take. At the bar, the 2 talked about this previously, and it reaffirmed Noel's belief that Walter is weak mentally, but a strong, dependable warrior. Noel reaches out his hand to rebuild with Walter. At the exit, Noel gives Walter his favorite bottle of whiskey and leaves. As he walks away, Walter reveals that Tanya originally had a crush on Noel, but he pushed her away when she learned they had different ideals. She moved on to Lloyd, and they turned her life away from what it could have been, deep down knowing that Noel was the special one out of them. This is how his first party ended. While thinking about this, Noel spots some snake scales and thinks, snakes shed their old skin to grow tougher. So that's exactly what he's going to do. It's time to shed and rebuild the Blue Beyond from the ground up. At the mission board, a girl spots a recruitment notice posted by Noel, and she thinks to herself that she has finally found him. Later, in a tavern, we catch Wolf talking with Noel as he complains that he doesn't think he'll get any party members worth recruiting here, since all the good ones are already in a party or clan. Noel tells Wolf to leave him alone, knowing the guy just wants him to join his party. Known as Lightning Bite, Wolf's party includes an elf archer named Licia and other skilled members. Even among the rookies, they have a reputation for being the next powerful clan on the rise. Just then, the elf girl Licia butts in, teasing that Wolf has no game, as she knows he was recently rejected by the florist girl he had an eye on. As he's bothering Noel, he yells at his party not to reveal his private love life. Noel then cuts in with an offer he knows Wolf will refuse. He agrees to join the party if he's made the leader. This catches Wolf by surprise, but the other members agree right away, not bothering to consult him. Wolf is mad about this, but Licia doesn't mind, thinking Noel is smarter than Wolf. Wolf grudgingly nods, agreeing he isn't the smartest, but he stops himself as he realizes there's a big problem. He's the founder of the party. Just then, a shady individual appears behind Noel, getting their attention. Wolf is impressed that this girl managed to slip past Lycia, who's an excellent tracker. The girl introduces herself as Alma, saying she's here because she saw Noel's recruitment poster. The two sit down to talk, and Noel bluntly calls her a child, asking for her age. Alma states she's 21, a full adult, and 5 years older than Noel and Lycia. The other members of Lightning Bite cut in, asking personal questions like her hobbies and favorite books, but Noel only cares about her skills, asking for her rank and class. Alma states she's a rank C seeker from the scout class. Noel likes what he hears, knowing scouts and archers are major boons in any party looking to take on the abysses. Personally, this is the type of person he would have added to his last party, but he pushes the thought from his mind. He finally asks why she wants to become a seeker. Alma says she has no interest in the title or fame that comes with the job. Pointing to Noel, she says she only wishes to be with the grandson of Overdeath. Noel is confused and asks if she knows his family, but she denies it, explaining that her grandfather fought Overdeath and lost. Noel, alarmed, asks if she plans to seek revenge, but Alma waves the thought away, saying such things are unproductive. Instead, she wants to see the type of seeker Overdeath's grandson has become. Hearing this, Noel feels it's only right to inform her that his grandfather passed away some time ago, apologizing on his behalf. Alma doesn't want that apology, as her grandfather also died recently. This makes Noel curious about the name of the man she respects so highly. Alma reveals her grandfather's name, Alcor Judicali. This shocks everyone, as the entire tavern would be fools not to know the name of the legendary leader of the Society of Assassins, an underworld billion-dollar enterprise willing to kill to make a living, with Alcor as its founder and first leader. One of the seekers in the tavern, a man named Logan, gets angry, accusing Alma of making up stories. Wolf tries to calm him down, saying it's none of his business, but Logan refuses to let it go. He explains that taverns have an unspoken rule. Only seekers of a certain prestige are allowed inside. Alma calmly admits she didn't know that. Sensing her inexperience, Logan sneers and labels her a rookie. He then informs her that it's customary for regulars to beat up anyone who breaks this unwritten rule. Before he can finish, Alma interrupts, turning to Noel and asking what determines a seeker's prestige. Noel explains that while class and rank are starting points, in the end, it all comes down to strength. Alma, not missing a beat, realizes she just has to beat this gorilla into the ground. This only makes Logan angrier, but it's no use. Alma swiftly defeats him with a chop and a kick, leaving the entire tavern in shock. Impressed by her skills, Noel hires her on the spot. As the tension fades, Alma's stomach growls loudly, and she simply states that she's hungry. The scene then shifts to Alma munching on a fried bun, with Alma thinking, "This is so damn good." Noel tells her it's nothing special, as it's a normal street food. That's when it clicks for Noel. She really is Alcor's granddaughter. Alma, noticing his reaction, asks if he hadn't believed her until now. But Alma says she believed he was Overdeath's grandson right away. She explains it's his eyes. They tell her he's the kind of person willing to do anything to win. She then recalls how her grandfather warned her never, under any circumstances, to fight Overdeath. Noel's eyes reminded her of that warning. Noel then curiously asks if she was training to be an assassin in the mountains, and Alma confirms it, saying that she's already met the requirements to become one, though she hasn't officially ranked yet. Noel, puzzled, asks why she didn't join the Assassin Society. Alma explains she tried, and they tested her by making her fight a weak assassin, which she easily won. She was about to kill the guy, following the old assassin rule that the strong survive and the weak must die, but the match referee stopped her. When she asked for his real identity, he revealed himself to be Simon Gregory, the current leader of the society. That's when Alma found out the society had changed its rules. They no longer kill people on a whim. Simon bluntly told her that she didn't fit in with the new society and kicked her out. Alma then states that they no longer need assassins trained in the old ways, and informs Noel that soon the royal crown will take the society under its wings. This shocks Noel, as now that means this powerful secret organization will be affiliated with the government. With them transitioning from assassins to doing spy work like espionage, the new leader believes that's the only way they'll survive. Noel, realizing how valuable this information is, nervously hopes he won't get killed just for knowing it. Alma suddenly remembers the info was supposed to be top secret and reassures him, laughing that his big sister will protect him. The scene then shifts to the next day, with Noel and Alma walking through the forest. Noel asks Alma how much she knows about talkers. Alma says she knows they're weak on their own but have powerful support skills, and their job is to use those to help their party. Noel agrees, but adds that it's not as easy as it sounds. If one wrong buff is used, the entire party could be wiped out. He explains that talkers have to assess the battlefield carefully before casting anything, and it's their job to give the right orders to get the most out of their teammates. He emphasizes that a talker's real role is control on the battlefield. But here's the catch: they can't up-buff themselves, making them a class that can't survive or fight alone. Alma, confident in his abilities, tells him she's sure he can manage on his own. Noel, with a half smirk, admits he'd be long dead if that wasn't the case. As they stop by a river, Noel asks Alma to catch a monster for him. He explains that monsters are just flora and fauna that have mutated because of the abyss, and hunting them is part of every seeker's job. For today, he wants her to hunt to a killer rabbit. He shows her a picture of the aggressive creature. Alma amusedly thinks it looks adorable, but Noel quickly warns her not to be fooled. These things are just as vicious as they are cute. He then tells her this hunt will serve as an experiment, and he plans to buff her while she catches the monster. Alma, ever confident, says there's no need for buffs because she can handle the rabbit herself, but Noel tells her that won't work. He explains that it takes time for a person's body to adjust to the buffs a talker provides. To make his point, he asks if she has the Axel skill. Alma confirms that she does mention that it doubles her speed, and she can even stack it to quadruple. Noel presses further, asking if she could use Axel perfectly right from the start. Alma admits that it took time and training for her body to handle the speed, and tells her it's exactly the same with buffs. She'll need time to adjust to the new abilities that buff provides. He mentions that it took half a month for his previous party to get used to his buffs, and Alma finally got his point, and then asks her how many killer rabbits are nearby. Alma, without missing a beat, tells him there are 13 within a 200-meter radius. Noel then kicks off the test, buffing Alma with Battle Voice and Tactician. He then explains that as long as she follows his orders, her abilities will be enhanced. Alma immediately feels a strange energy surging inside her body. Noel then instructs her to max out her Axel skill, saying she can now boost her speed 6-fold. And then he tells her that the challenge is to catch a single killer rabbit in under 10 seconds. So without wasting any time, the test begins, and Alma sprints through the forest, not only catching one rabbit, but gathering several. As she's moving, she thinks about how great her body feels, understanding the power of a talker. Alma arrives back. Noel is stunned to find that she caught all 13 rabbits in the area, and in just 8.6 seconds, he's impressed by how fast she adapted to his buffs, being slightly jealous as he always wanted this power as a kid. Moving on, he figures there's no need for further training, and with a grin, he tells her they're ready for their first quest as a party. Noel then reveals in a letter that a small town named Mince, which they recently cleared of monsters, has sent him a request to deal with a group of thieves terrorizing the villagers. The two can be seen riding a carriage, where Alma is enthusiastic about the ride as she's never ridden Stagecoach before. I feel like she should be geeking out because Ratatouille is their driver, but that's just me. Noel tells her she won't feel that way in the next hour, as the journey is long. Alma asks if it's that long. He tells her it's like an 8-hour shift working customer service, so her ass is going to feel like a rock by the end of it. Noel says he can bore her with other jobs of the Seekers, but instead of turning him down, the girl happily wants to listen.
Seekers typically handle, aside from fighting beasts born from the Abyss's Seekers, also hunt down criminals, monsters, and treasure. There are also mythic hunts where Seekers explore uncharted territories. The bandit problem they're about to deal with usually falls under the Lord's responsibility, but sometimes the Lords are slow to act, so people turn to Seekers. Hearing the amount of work she has to do now, Alma thinks it sucks. Noel also admits that when taking on a quest like this, she shouldn't expect a big reward, as the village is a poor farming village. Hearing this, she does get a sense of satisfaction, as Seekers sound like heroes who protect the innocent. This brings a smile to Noel's face, as he remembers how his old party would act before their darkness overshadowed them. By the end, Noel is right as Alma's, but is as hard as stone. Noel has no sympathy and tells her they're hopping on another carriage to Mince tomorrow. They start looking for an inn, but everywhere they check is full. After a frustrating search, they finally manage to find one with a single room. Alma thought the food sucked ass, but at least the room is nice. Noel's relieved and tells Alma to take the bed while he'll crash on the floor. Alma sees weakness, strikes, teasing him for blushing, calling it cute. Alma casual tells him she doesn't mind if he sleeps with her, as she's his cool big sister. Noel storms out with her finding all this cute. Noel comes out the shower refreshed while seeing her do stretches. Alma stares at him, not expecting him to have such a ripped body that most girls love in a man. Touching his toned body, she finds it a shame, as he spent countless hours to achieve it, but it won't matter how hard he trained, as he'll never compare to frontline fighters. As hard work doesn't trump God-given talent. Alma surgically ridicules his dream to become the strongest seeker with her words, as each layer of them has a truth to them. Noel can't take it, and when she lets her guard down, he smacks her with his finger. He tells her to wash up as she's starting to smell like outside. The girl is mad but does so. While in bed alone, Noel can't help but think that maybe she's right, in the back of his mind knowing that he'd never be able to be better than LeBron, but he still has to try.
The next day, we see how their arguments lead to them having quite the unprotected party last night, as Noel is busy having a mouthful of sweet buns. Waking up, Noel freaks out as he recognizes this sweet smell, not being happy she got him into bed, as if this has happened before. It's always the older sister types. Thank you all so much for watching the video. This is going to be the end of the first part of the anime, but I will come back later to complete it. Now, if you like the anime, make sure to give a like, and I'll see you next time. But here's another video you should check out.